King Charles is battling cancer. He just flew thousands of miles to America for the most important meeting of his life. He paused his cancer treatment to be there. And somehow, in the middle of all of that, one single fake photo of Meghan Markle's daughter nearly blew the whole thing up. This is the story of the worst week the royal family did not need, and the marriage tension nobody is talking about. Here is what happened. King Charles and Queen Camilla flew to America. Big diplomatic trip. Months, maybe a year, in the planning. Tea at the White House, a garden party at the British Embassy, and then a major meeting with President Donald Trump. This was supposed to be a proud moment for Britain. But while Charles was shaking hands at the British Embassy garden party, something else was going viral. A photo. Described as the first public photo of Meghan Markle's 4-year-old daughter, Lili. It was shared by a Newsmax presenter. It spread like wildfire. There was just one problem. The photo was completely fake, AI generated, not real, not from Meghan, not Lili. And one of America's biggest TV newswomen, a close ally of President Trump, had already shared it to her millions of followers. Her name is Greta Van Susteren, and she still hasn't deleted it. So let's break down exactly what happened with this photo, because it tells you a lot about the world we are living in right now. While Greta Van Susteren was at the British Embassy garden party, actually meeting King Charles and Queen Camilla face to face, someone at Newsmax posted a tweet. It said, "Meghan Markle has shared the first public photo of her 4-year-old daughter, Lili." And it showed a cute little girl. Greta saw it. She shared it. She wrote, "That is such a gorgeous little girl." There was a problem. The photo was not real. Twitter, or X, put a community note on it right away. The note said the photo appears to be AI generated. Similar fake images had been spreading for weeks. Meghan never posted it. It was not Lili. But Greta Van Susteren, even after being told this, even after the community note went up, refused to delete the post. And this went mega viral. Not just in America, everywhere, overshadowing the actual state visit news. Why does this keep happening? Here is the thing. Royal commentator Tom Sykes said something really important about this. He said the real reason these fake AI photos of Lili and Archie keep spreading is because Harry and Meghan have put their children into the public spotlight. But they have never actually shown the world a clear, real photo of their kids' faces. So people are curious, and fake photos fill that gap. Tom Sykes put it bluntly. He said we are all basically just waiting for the highest bidder to pay Meghan for a real photo of the kids. But here is where it gets even more interesting, because according to sources close to the couple, Meghan wants the children to be high profile. Harry does not. And that disagreement? It is described as a source of great tension inside their marriage. Let's talk about the tension, because this is the part everyone is whispering about but nobody is saying clearly. Harry has always said he wants his children to grow up privately, away from cameras, away from the press. That was one of the big reasons he said he left the royal family in the first place, to protect his kids. But Meghan, according to multiple sources, wants the children to have a public profile. She wants Archie and Lili to be as well known as Prince William and Princess Catherine's children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. And those two things cannot both be true at the same time. You cannot want total privacy for your children and also want them to be the most famous children in the world. Royal commentator Tom Sykes, who is one of the most well-connected journalists on this story, says his sources describe this as a real and ongoing tension inside the marriage. And when fake AI photos of Lili go viral and nobody can tell whether they are real because no one has ever seen a proper photo of her, that tension gets worse, not better. They are very determined to make sure their children are as high profile as William and Catherine's children. I am told it is a source of great tension within the marriage between the two of them. Now, here is the part of this story that absolutely nobody expected. Just days before King Charles got on a plane to America for this massive diplomatic trip, his own son tried to blow it up. Not on purpose, maybe, but that is what happened. Harry had been in Australia, then suddenly he showed up in Ukraine at a major international security summit, and he started making public statements about the war, about Putin, about Trump, about what America should do. This was 3 or 4 days before his cancer-battling father was about to board a plane for the most difficult diplomatic trip of his entire reign. Tom Sykes called it very, very unhelpful, and that is putting it nicely. But then the very next day, Harry sat down for an interview with ITV's Chris Shipp, and he said something that crossed a line. He said, "I will always be part of the royal family, and I am here working and doing the very thing that I was born to do." Wait, what? Harry and Meghan left the royal family in 2020. There was a full summit at Sandringham, the famous Sandringham summit, where it was made completely clear that Harry could not be half in and half out. He stepped down as a working royal. That was the deal. Now he is saying he is still a working royal? Tom Sykes called this move disingenuous. He said that to ordinary people who do not follow royal news closely, the 95% of the public who just see headlines, Harry saying this makes it sound like he is still officially part of the royal family, which he is not. And he said this to a journalist, on camera, 2 days before his father, who has cancer, who paused his treatment, who worked for months on this trip, got on a plane to go represent Britain to Donald Trump. I felt it was a really mean and nasty thing to do. Literally, his dad has cancer, he is not well, and you are doing your best to empty a bag of spanners into the works 3 days before the most important diplomatic mission of his life. And then came the moment that nobody saw coming. A reporter asked President Donald Trump what he thought about Prince Harry's comments, specifically Harry's statement that Trump should do more to end the war in Ukraine. Trump's response: he barely remembered who Harry was. "Prince Harry? How's he doing? How's his wife? Please give her my regards. I think I know one thing. Prince Harry is not speaking for the UK, that's for sure. I think I'm speaking for the UK more than Prince Harry." President Donald Trump. That is devastating. Not because Trump was being cruel, but because he just said out loud what everyone was already thinking. Harry flew to Ukraine. He made big statements. He gave an interview. He put his name all over the headlines. And the President of the United States responded by asking how his wife was doing and moving on. That is how much Harry matters on the world stage right now. To the very president he was publicly lecturing about Ukraine. With all of that chaos happening in the background, let's talk about what King Charles actually did. He showed up. He got on the plane. He walked into the garden party at the British Embassy at midnight UK time, after a long flight, time change, tea at the White House and everything else. And he worked the room like a king. There was a moment that went viral, and for a good reason this time. An American comedian named Matt Friend, who hosts a CNN show and is known for his impressions of the king, was standing at the party. And Charles walked over and had a laugh with him. He spoke to Ted Cruz and his daughters. He met Greta Van Susteren. He posed for photos. He joked with guests. He was charming and warm and, by every account, exhausted. But he did not show it. Greta Van Susteren herself, the same woman whose fake Lili photo caused all the chaos, wrote this about meeting Charles. "The king and queen very gracious, meeting everyone. They must have been exhausted. Long flight, then tea at the White House, and then this large garden party. This was about midnight their time. Even she was impressed." Tom Sykes said something about Charles that really stuck with me. He said, "I think if you told Charles the cancer was completely terminal and he had 9 months to live, he would say, 'Do you know what? I'm going to go out and be the best king I can for 9 months.' That is the energy he is bringing. And honestly, that is hard to argue with." So after all of this, the Ukraine trip, the ITV interview, Trump dismissing him on live television, the fake Lili photo, the marriage tension, there is one big question hanging in the air. Should Harry lose his titles? Tom Sykes, who is not someone who says things lightly, gave a very direct answer. He said that if he were advising Harry and Meghan, he would tell them to do one thing: voluntarily give up their titles. Stop being the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Stop letting their children be called a prince and princess. Draw a clear line and move on. He said Harry might actually consider it, but Meghan? He thinks she would never agree. And that tells you something, doesn't it? Because the Queen, the late Queen Elizabeth II herself, said it directly. You cannot be half in and half out. A life of public service is not compatible with making money from your royal status. Harry and Meghan's response at the time was, service is universal, meaning you can serve the public in any way, not just the royal way. Tom Sykes said he found that response offensive, because the Queen had given her entire life to public service, and Harry and Meghan were basically lecturing her on what public service means. As for King Charles, those who know him say he simply does not have it in him to strip Harry of his titles. He loves his son. He has cancer. He wants to reconcile. He is not going to create that conflict, so we may have to wait. And according to Tom Sykes, we may be waiting for King William to do what King Charles cannot. One of them is holding things together. One of them keeps tearing them apart. One parent wants the kids hidden. The other wants them famous. Neither one is backing down. Who is right, Harry or the royal family? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe if this hit different. See you in the next one.